At night when we laid in bed and thought, oh, this is going to be crazy, we thought, how are we doing on this one, this one? It gave us some clarity. Sanity. And because we could know which balls could drop and bounce and which couldn't, and those balls couldn't bounce. Of course, then there was this other category called standard operating objectives, which are permission to play things you got to do in your family, like earn enough money to pay the mortgage, keep food on the table and clothes on the kids' back, keep your education of the kids, make sure they're doing well in school, keep your marriage going, your prayer life going, all critically important permission to play survival things. But they were important 5 years ago, 3 years ago, last year, this year, next year, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. And if you're constantly living in that bottom set of objectives, which is survival, you can get burned out. My wife would say, well, what's going to change? I said, don't worry, honey, 18 years from now, it'll all be different. You know. And so the point here is this: we have to know what we're doing to make our family better now. What's your rallying cry? Last question for a frantic family. How are you going to use those first two answers? What makes you unique and what your number one priority is? How are you going to use that in running your life so it doesn't end up being a nice slide like at work that you put into a binder and put it on a shelf and you see the spine of it and you never look at it again until a year later just to make you feel guilty? How are you going to keep it alive? You know how you're going to keep it alive? First of all, you're going to post it somewhere visible in your house. My wife and I sometimes will go to a restaurant, we'll write it on the tablecloth, paper tablecloth. We'll rip it off and we'll stick it on the refrigerator. And we'll walk by it and remind ourselves. You got to make it visible. You got to keep it up there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Let it be messy, but keep it in front of you. The second thing you have to do is you have to have meetings. You have to have meetings. Not the kind of meetings we used to have in my family. You know what those were? Those were standing in front of the bathroom mirror, brushing our teeth in the morning. And here's what the meeting would be like. Hey, Laura, who's picking up the kids from school today? Yeah, what's for dinner tonight? Should we have another baby? Do you think Connor has a discipline problem? Where should we go on vacation? Okay, gotta go, bye-bye. The next day, she's like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, I thought we were having chicken. Well, I didn't think, you know. We're just all over the place. But we have to take that information we have that says, this is what we believe in, and this is what our number one priority is, and for 5 minutes a week, we have to go over it together and just give ourselves colors. How are we doing on the boys becoming more self-sufficient? I think that's a green. Matthew and Connor are doing really well. How about Casey's discipline? Oh, poor Casey. That's a red. How about outsourcing? That's pretty good. How about the remodel guy? He's a red too. Okay, this week, Casey and the contractor. That's where we're going to focus. See, we need to. What about the fact that I wanted to get their backyard remodeled because it looked like a jungle? Not important. I wanted to start going to Pilates classes because I couldn't touch my toes. Not important. If I can't touch my toes and the baby comes, we're okay. So we could say no to things and know it was the right decision. Because we knew the most important thing was, let's get ready for baby number 4. Now my wife have these meetings. You know something? Our kids actually say, let's have a family meeting because they like to put the colors in. And they like to say, I think I'm a green this week on mine. And what a great thing that we get together and have a family meeting. And it gives us a little bit of sanity. Is the world now without stress? No. Life is meant to be an adventure. It's a roller coaster. It's messy. But at least that messiness and chaos is kind of channeled in a direction, and my wife and I can breathe and say, we're moving in a certain way, which makes us feel like this gift that God gave us, each other and our children and the resources we have are being utilized, and this life that we have is not being merely survived, but is being managed and lived with some level of purpose. So my prayer today is that you will all be able to, in some way, no matter where you are in your life, be able to reduce the franticness, the chaos, or the unintentionality of your world, and in some way feel like you've got a little less franticness, a little more purposefulness, and a little more peace of mind. I think God wants us all to have that.